Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of DFS by Cage. This is episode 37, where I break down my Draftkings lineup for UFC Fight Night London, which is headlined by a heavyweight top five matchup between Tom Aspinall going up against Curtis Blaydes. As always, of course, this is Cage My IQ. If you haven't done so already, and this is your first time coming to the network, please do us a favor and follow and subscribe to us on all of our social media channels on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Of course, all the videos will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you never miss any of the action right away, because it's going to pop up on the top right to let you know that our videos are uploaded. And please help us out and smash the like button down below and leave us a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think of my six-fighter lineup for DraftKings, and give me your lineup that you're going to use for this Saturday. We got an early card coming up. It starts at 12 o'clock Eastern time on the East Coast in the United States, of course, and it starts at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening in London. So make sure you get your lineups plugged in early this time, because you don't want to miss out on your DraftKings lineup because you forgot that it was an early card. But of course, just like I said, leave us a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think of my lineup. Give me your lineup and give me your sleepers of who you're going to use this week for DraftKings. But other than that, I also want to give a shout out to our sponsor, High Tide Herbal. If you don't know who High Tide Herbal is, check out this video right now.
Offering high-quality, sustainable products with all-natural, lab-tested ingredients, it's High Tide Herbal's mission to help others live the longest, healthiest, and most productive lives possible. Their hemp-derived CBD products have a wide variety of uses, from helping sore muscles to skin hydration and minimizing skin irritation. They generate results based on your specific needs. Elevate your lifestyle with the new wave of wellness. Visit hightideherbal.com to learn more.
Let's get started with my six-fighter lineup for DraftKings right now. As you see right there, I already have the six fighters logged in there. I'm just going to give you a little bit of description of why I'm using each one, and then I'm going to give you a couple bets that I'm going to use for this week for UFC London to round out the video, and then we'll get going until next week. But first, we're going to start with the first fighter in the lineup. We got Claudio Silva there. He is 7,400 salary. His nickname is Hannibal. He is going up against Nicholas Dalby. He is 14-3, 76.3 FPPF, which means fantasy points per fight. As you see right there, he is rocking a 2-fight losing streak against Court McGee and James Krause by decision. But if you look at what he did before then, he was riding a 5-fight winning streak going into that, where he had 110 points, he had 82, he had 107, 84, and 85, and 3 wins by sub and 2 wins by decision. And that's why I'm using him, and that's why I'm taking a stab with him at that 7,400 salary, because very low. He has a good matchup against Nicholas Dalby, who's more of a distance fighter. He likes to throw leg kicks. He likes to come in and throw those overhand shots, but he has, to me, cardio issues. He has trouble breathing, and then he isn't consistent with his throwing, and a lot of his wins are by decision. Whereas Claudio Silva is going to come in there, as you see, we're going to go back down. He is averaging 2 to 3 takedowns a fight. He can do a little bit of damage on the feet, but a lot of his output is on the ground. He gets the fight to the ground, whether he uses the body lock to leg trip or if he goes for a double leg takedown, and then he gets several takedowns. He averages 4 to 5 minutes of control time, and he does ground and pound. And he has a high level submission game where, as you see there, he has 2 finishes in the first and then 1 in the third. against some decent opponents. I think he can go in there and get that early to mid sub on Nicholas Dalby. Nicholas Dalby got taken down several times by Tim Means. He doesn't defend the takedowns very well. He starts to do it better later on in fights, but Claudio Silva, I think, is going to get him early when he is bad at defending. And I think he gets that early to mid sub via rear naked choke or armbar here. So with that, I think him being a 7,400 salary, it's a perfect chance to take advantage of this low cost with the chances of him getting close to 100 points in salary because of the early sub here. So with the first spot, I'm going with Claudio Silva at 7,400. Moving on to the next fighter in my lineup, we got Paul Bearju Craig. His salary is 7,700. He has a top 10 matchup against Vulcan Oldsdemir. He is 16-4-1. His FPPF is 66.4. This guy is riding a 4-fight win streak, as you see right there. If you take away that draw against Shogun Rua, which went to decision, you could technically say it's a 5-fight win streak plus a draw, because right before that he had the sub victory over Moreira in the first round. But he has 3 subs in that time in the first round. He has a KO, a win, which probably should have been a sub as well against Jamal Hill, but the ref kept the fight going too long. And then he has the second round KO against Shogun Rua. So this guy is a finisher, whether it's on the feet or on the ground, but he is a high level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He specializes in submission entries. He gets you 1 to 2 takedowns, and then he gets in that sub from any angle that he's at. He is the quintessential submission master of that division. And he's going up against Vulcan, who is a speedy striker on the feet. Yeah, he's a very good boxer, has a good jab, has a good hook, has a good overhand shot. He knocks people out, but he has a tendency to overshoot his striking, and he leans in with the shots. And I feel like because of that, Paul Craig is going to take advantage of that. He's going to do what he did against Jamal Hill. He's going to grab the arm, pull him down, drop guard 1 or 2 times, and look for the triangle or the armbar. And I think at the end of the day, I got Paul Craig win this by first round triangle submission, and Vulcan's going to give him some fits. But I think Paul Craig is crazy for being the underdog. I think he should be the favorite because of how well he's done the past 5-6 fights. But he's coming in at the underdog, so that's perfect odds for you to put him in your lineup at 7,700. But with him getting that early to mid sub, he's going to hit you almost over 100 points on DraftKings. So once again, the second person I'm using is Paul Craig at 7,700. Moving on to the third spot, we got one half of the main event. This is my big time player for this week. We got Tom Aspinall. He doesn't have a nickname. He has an 8,300 salary. He's going up against Curtis Blaydes. He is 12-2 with a 109.8 FPPF. He has a 5-fight win streak in the UFC. He has 3 wins by first round knockout. He has a first round sub against Volkov, and then he has a second round sub against Olaski. But he has the best combination of striking and grappling. He has a boxing background where he is trained by Tyson Fury. So he is very quick with the shots. He has a good jab, a good hook, a good uppercut, a good overhand shot. But then he also has that wrestling background that he uses, that he gets fighters to the ground, and then he looks for those submissions. You saw against the Volkov matchup where he got that Kimura and made him tap. He is a threat at all levels of the game, in my opinion. And against a wrestler in Blaydes who has that overhand knockout power, he's majority of a wrestling threat there. And I think I think Tom Aspinall is going to neutralize that with his striking. He's going to get up close. He's going to look to take Blaydes down too. I think Blaydes might be a little bit scared to take him down because of the submission game of Aspinall. And I see Aspinall racking up a lot of volume. I see him getting a takedown. And I see him getting the third round sub here. And because of that, he's going to be, I think, close to optimal this week because he's going to get over 100 points. I think he's going to get 105 to 110 points with the volume, the takedown, the little bit of control time, and the sub, plus the win. And with him being 8,300, that's a perfect spot to go with him here. So once again, we got Tom Aspinall, 8,300. Moving on to the next fighter on my lineup, I got one of my value plays of the week. We got Chris Curtis, the Action Man. His salary is 8,200, just 100 off of Tom Aspinall. He's going up against Jack the Joker Hermanson. He's 29-8. His FPPF is 97.8. He has a 3-fight win streak in the UFC against all good opponents. He beat Hawes by KO. He beat Brendan Allen by KO round 2. And he beat Rodolfo Vieira by decision. He has 109, 106, and then 78 points wise. Rodolfo Vieira gave him fits in the takedown game, but he still had over 109 strikes and almost 2 minutes of control time. So he was able to win that fight 2 rounds to 1. He lost the first round, but then he took rounds 2 and 3. And he's going to come into this fight against Hermanson, who is a grappler and submission artist. Hermanson doesn't have the best striking, but he has good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grappling, so he's going to look for those body lock to takedowns. But knowing that he had just fought Rodolfo Vieira, who is very aggressive with the takedowns early and has a better gas tank, in my opinion, than Jack Hermanson, that's probably why Chris Curtis took this fight with 2 weeks' notice, because he's also already trained for a guy similar to this who's going to look to get the fight to the ground and pound, and look for the submission. So he's already ready for this fight. It's just it's a taller, skinnier opponent rather than a bigger, muscular guy. But I think he's going to be able to overpower him, defend the takedowns, and rack up a lot of volume in this fight. I think it goes to decision, but he's going to take less damage. He's going to land a lot of shots and over 100 significant strikes, in my opinion. He might have openings to get the finish in the second or third round by KO. We don't know, because Hermanson tends to tire out after round 1. So he has openings for the finish here. If he gets the finish, he's definitely getting over 110 points. But if he doesn't and he just goes to decision, I think this could be anywhere from 90 to 100 points for the fight, because he's gonna clearly outstrike him here. But with that 8,200 salary, you got a lot of wiggle room here with him if he only gets 90 points. So once again, at this slot, I'm going the Action Man, Chris Curtis, with the price tag of 8,200. Moving on to the 5th fighter in the lineup, we got the hometown boy, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, fighting in London once again. His salary is 8,900. He's going up against Jordan Levitt. His record is 18-3, FPPF of 108.6. In his 2 fights in the UFC, he's won in the first round early. He beat Van Dramini by first round KO, where he had 50 strikes and 1 knockdown that led to his KO. And then last fight in London, he had the first round sub against Vargas, where he only landed 3 strikes, but he had the takedown and the sub 3 minutes in. So we've seen 2 different results here. He's going up against Levitt, who is a jiu-jitsu grappler, who's a submission artist. He wins the majority of his fights by decision or submission. Levitt's going to look to take the fight down to the ground, and early on, Paddy is prone to that. But I think Patty gets up and gets the early knockout finish. Levitt is prone to being hit in the face. He kind of allows himself to get punched to look for takedown entries. And against a guy like Patty Pimblett, you don't want to do that because he's a hard hitter. He's a knockout artist. He's fighting in London, so he's going to be amped up to get the finish for the crowd. I think he gets the finish 2 to 3 minutes into the first round. He gets the crowd going, and he winds up getting over 120 points. I think he gets a 20 to 25 strikes, significant. He gets the knockdown. He gets the KO and the win in the first round. So with this spot, him being 8,900, I think he's optimal for the week since he gets over 120 points. So once again, I'm going with the hometown guy, Patty Pimblett, at the price tag of 8,900. Lastly, we got Muhammad the Punisher Mokaev. He is the most expensive person in DraftKings this week at 9,500. He's going up against newcomer Charles Johnson, who's a multi defending champion in LFA. He is 7-0 with the FPPF at 126.1. In his debut, he beat Cody Durden within a minute or two by first round sub. He had the knockdown, the 2 significant strikes, and then he had the submission finish by, I believe it was guillotine. This guy has a nice combination of wrestling and striking. He can take you down several times. He has the hard-hitting punches. Like I said, he did knock down Durden, and that led to the sub. But against a guy like Charles Johnson, Charles Johnson's a guy that is a slow starter, and he gets hot as he's going. Mokaev is going to want to get the fight finished early because Charles Johnson gets stronger as the fights go on, and he has elite cardio, whereas we don't know how Mokaev's cardio is going to be in this. But I look for Mokaev to look for that early to mid finish. I think he racks up on striking. He might get a takedown because we've seen Charles Johnson get takedown several times in fights. And I feel like he's going to get a victory via ground and pound here late in the first round. And because of that, he gets over 100 points here. He might not be optimal. He might be. But I feel like with the chances that he has to get the finish, he is worth 9,500 for a reason. And that's because of the potential here. I'm taking the shot with the potential here. I'm hoping he gets over 120, close to that 126.1 that he got in the first fight. And I think he gets the first round finish by KO. So with the last person in my lineup, I'm going with Muhammad Mokaev at the salary of 9,500. Once again, I'm using Claudio Silva, Paul Craig, Tom Aspinall, Chris Curtis, Patty Pimblett, and Muhammad Mokaev. And now we wrap things up with my DFS DraftKings lineup. Let's look at some of the bets that I'm looking to go with for this week. As you see right there, we got the odds for this week. One of the bets I'm going with is Tom Aspinall to win the fight. I'm using the money line. It is at minus 135. I should have taken advantage when he was at plus 135, but a lot of people are jumping on Aspinall now. So I jumped on it already at minus 135. I feel like he's going to get that mid fight finish by sub. So I'm just going with the money line to cover all the avenues here. I'm also going with Chris Curtis at money line. You got him by minus 110. Both of these guys are pick 'em. I'm going with the guy with the better potential here in Chris Curtis because I feel like he's going to out-volume Hermansson and outdo anything that Hermansson does with his takedowns. I'm also going to go with moving down Paul Craig plus 135. I think that's great odds considering the fact that he is on a 4-fight win streak. Vulcan is coming off of a loss, I believe. And I feel like Paul Craig's going to be able to utilize his grappling to submit him. And I think he gets the submission. But like I said, I'm covering all my tracks. I think that's a great odds for him, plus 135 in this matchup. So that's the third single bet that I'm going with. And then I'm going to do a parlay. I'm going to capitalize on Claudio Silva, plus 205. I think it's crazy that he's a heavy underdog like that against Nico Stalby. I really don't see much with Nico Stalby. I think Claudio Silva wins this one, whether it's on the feet or with this grappling. And I'm going to pair that plus 205 with Muhammad Mukayev, minus 460, to kind of knock down that heavy minus 460 odds with Mukayev. That way it kind of balances things out and almost makes this two fighter parlay even. And then I'm going to add in one more fighter to that, and I am going to go likely with, it looks like with these odds, there's a lot of crazy odds here, but I'm going to go with Jonathan Pierce here, minus 190. I think a lot of people are going to jump on Mach 1 Americani at plus 160 because he has that potential to get that early first round sub, but he does a lot of grappling and sub tries early, and he tends to gas himself out later in fights. And I think Jonathan Pierce is a guy who can grapple, who can strike on the feet. He has good cardio, and he's very patient. So I feel like his patience gonna do well in this fight. I'm gonna add him to that to the bet with Claudio Silva and Muhammad Mukayev, and we're gonna get good odds for that. So that is the last bet I'm gonna make, that trio bet. So once again, I'm doing a trio bet, money line of Pierce, Mukayev, and Silva. I'm going with Paul Craig money line. I'm going with Chris Curtis money line, and I'm going with Tom Aspinall money line. So those are the bets I'm doing for the week. Make sure you make those bets so you can watch them cash. We did good 2 weeks ago. Last week was sort of a so-so because of Ortega getting injured, and I thought he was looking good until the injury, but things happen. Let's bounce back. Overall, we did good with our Draftkings bets last week, so let's keep the hot hand going. But other than that, we will be back next week for DFS by Cage episode 38. We got UFC 277 live from Dallas, Texas. We got the main event of Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes 2, the rematch, live on pay-per-view. So we're going to break down our DFS lineup for that event next week. So make sure you tune in to Cage My IQ weekly for all your content, whether it's DFS lineup, whether it's a UFC prediction video for the upcoming card, or interviews that we're putting out. I just put out the interview for Damon the Leech Jackson, so you can check that out on the YouTube channel. So other than that, make sure you smash the like button down below, you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you hit us up in the comment section and let us know what you think of this video. But other than that, I will talk to you guys next week for another edition of Cage My IQ. I'm your host, Cage, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in.